From a social, political point of view, what is a tax credit? A tax credit is a government subsidy intended to drive behaviors favored by policy to help government officials achieve policy goals. Let's talk about the policy goals that are being driven through the tax credits. Well, for example, credit on college tuition would encourage an individual to pay for their education, a company to pay for their employees' education, or for parents to help their children get through school. Tax credits related to children support families who have higher costs and might have less time to earn income. It's a little help there. Tax credits also favor homeownership, and in recent years we found out how essential strong mortgages are to the financial strength of our nation and even the global economy. Finally, tax incentives that reward us for caring for the sick and infirm. Even though we do it anyway, it does help if we get some support when we care for others. And also, we might have less time to earn additional income, and this is more than fair, don't you think? I think so. What about business? These tax credits are squarely targeted at the economy, and the focus is on far-reaching goals. Energy credits line up with national goals for energy sustainability, and they encourage alternative fuels, including wind and solar power, to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. Job credits are clearly aimed at reducing unemployment, with an important benefit to the government, which is to reduce the cost of social programs, which we hope will reduce the burden on us as a taxpayer too. How about research and development credits? They clearly exist to drive global competitiveness, to increase the capabilities of business to export. And investment credits in many cases are partnered with job credits. You find this at the federal and state levels. The best investment credits are often targeted at regions and industries that are depressed, so overall the investment credit's goal is economic development, which will ultimately reduce unemployment by creating sustainable job growth, and that's worthwhile. All of these goals are worthwhile, aren't they? They help our business and they help the nation. We talked a bit about how legislation and government seeks to drive behavior of business and individuals for its social and economic goals. Our focus here for the most part is one class of business tax incentives, employer tax credits. So let's ask the question, do employer tax credits achieve their intended policy goals? Well, clearly the answer is yes, based on a study by Wharton School of Business professor at the Center for Human Resources. Professor Capelli found out that employment tax credits do indeed achieve their intended policy goals, and this is based on three main causes. Professor Capelli found that the government achieves a 5-to-1 benefit-cost ratio with targeted tax credit programs. In other words, the cost of an unemployed worker is $5,000 per year, while the average tax credit for a targeted tax credit program is $1,000 per qualified worker, so the benefit is 5 times the cost. This doesn't even count the additional taxes gained by the government on the newly employed workers' payroll taxes and income tax. Also, people targeted by employer tax credit programs are 25% more likely to be hired and more likely to stay employed by their new company. So what's the conclusion? That targeted employment tax credit programs are best for everyone, for the employee, for the employer, for the government. It's a win-win-win opportunity for everyone involved in employer tax credit programs. The most important employment tax credits, as we learned from the Capelli study, are targeted to specific target groups. Federal programs use a definition for those target groups as, quote, those workers with historically high unemployment rates. Those groups are usually defined based on measurable criteria, like participation in government-sponsored services or being located in a federally recognized economic development zone.